Howdy folks, Texas Grebner here with Texas Grebner Outdoors. New videos every Saturday, so if you don't want to miss out on your Texas Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness, make sure to click subscribe, check that notification box, and check my channel every Saturday for new videos. I love reading your comments, and I really do appreciate all of you that watch. Who's ready to make it weird? Because today we're going to be talking about traditional archery and perfect form, but in very abstract terms. I tend to follow Zen in my practice of the art of archery. I am not by any stretch of the imagination a master of archery, but I have achieved some elements of mastery in archery. I tend to follow very basic rules. The basics are the basics because they will never let you down. Everybody loves to talk about advanced styles of archery, advanced archery techniques, because it makes you feel important. But the basics are the basics. And they wouldn't be on such a short list if they didn't work all the time. First of all, this here is the riser of the bow. These are the limbs. This is the string. Normally, your dominant hand and your dominant eye will be on the same side of your body. Draw to the same point every single time. In Western style archery, we normally use our middle finger because it's the longest and place it on the corner of our mouth, which brings the nock of the arrow directly under our shooting eye if we're right-handed. So draw, anchor, aim, and release, and remain motionless until you are positive that your arrow has hit its mark. Always grasp your sword as if you intend to cut a man down. Do everything the same. Do what is necessary in order to make your arrow go where you want to. And do it all organically. Now, I mentioned having a very Zen outlook on archery. When people read about Zen in a Western culture, they always invariably say, I didn't learn anything, I already knew all of that. Guess what? You failed the lesson, because Zen is about appreciation of the obvious, which is why I have chosen to start this video in such a beautiful place. But the basics of archery, of draw, anchor, aim, release, remain motionless, will never let you down. However, do all things the same always is not a constant maxim, because there are nuances to archery. Because as you get further away from your target, the bow will need to be elevated, because as the arrow leaves the bow, it will describe a parabolic arc. And so, it's fluid. At all points along the arrow's trajectory, which is the parabolic arc, it is going to be at a different place for that set moment. So you will have to be able to organically. Make your arrow go where you want it to go. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that this portion of the video is helpful to you.
Life is dynamic and ever-changing, like the flickering flame of a candle. Every shot has its own unique form. The exact position the body must be in and the bow must be in order for all the algebraic factors involved in that shot to make the arrow go to the desired point. There is no single perfect form. There is no single perfect stance. Life is dynamic. You must be fluid. You must have an unmoving mind and an unvacillating body. The unmoving mind can glance at something without being distracted by it. The unvacillating body refuses to be detained by anything at all. This is known as emptiness. Each shot has its own perfect form. The key is having the discipline as an archer to not release the arrow if the shot is not correct in all its algebraic variables. The target is the goal. There are unknown variables and there are known variables. An archer must develop an absolute intimacy with their equipment and their own body in order to be able to face any challenge organically and solve the problem without forcing an answer. Stance is unimportant because you must be fluid. To be rigid in one way is to be lacking in all other ways. The unchanging algebraic factors that must be adhered to in the equation of the shot are that the arrow must always have the same amount of energy every single shot for a consistent trajectory, as well as the tip of the arrow to the nock of the arrow must be in perfect alignment every single time, left to right, right to left. The energy in the arrow and the arrow's alignment on the bow are the only two constant factors. Every shot has its own individual form or body position. As the distance increases between an archer and the target, the bow will need to be elevated because the arrow's energy shouldn't change at all. The body will be in a different and potentially unfamiliar and uncomfortable position. Only over long periods of time, through diligence, discipline, and subsequent correct repetitions of the shot and developing an absolute intimacy with the weapon and the body, keeping the arrow in flawless alignment and ensuring that the arrow has the same amount of energy every time for a consistent trajectory. Only by doing that can an archer learn to assume the proper position of the bow and body completely organically.
As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at SOETacticalGear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you who served in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.